Hello everybody and welcome back to the Need to Know channel. This is the channel about the things that you need to know. And today we're going to be speaking about South Africa. South Africa has found itself in a very difficult position in the past few years regarding spaza shops, tuck shops if you like to call them that, and xenophobia. This is a conversation that has been riddling within the communities of South Africa. And today we're going to dive right into it. Before we get started with the video, I'd like to thank everybody for supporting and pressing the subscribe button, dropping a comment and liking the video. Thank you so much for your support. And now that we have that out of the way, let's get into it. For us to fully understand the issue that is happening in South Africa right now, we need to get to the root of the problem, which is xenophobia. And xenophobia is defined as the fear or the hatred of strangers or of anything that is foreign. We need to understand what is the reason for South Africans to feel this way, and what was the cause or the reason for them to feel this way. Well, firstly, we need to understand that under apartheid, Black South Africans were systematically excluded from economic opportunities. This was leaving Black communities with underdeveloped communities and limited resources, creating competition for basic necessities and services. Right after the apartheid regime ended, they saw this as an opportunity to get the opportunities that they were missing out on. Now that they have people from neighboring countries coming in, they fear that they will take the opportunities that were meant for locals. Also keeping in account the resistant economic equality, it only makes things worse. South Africa having one of the most unequal societies globally, with high levels of poverty and unemployment at 32.9% in 2024. Many locals blame foreign nationals, particularly in informal sectors like foreign-owned shops and low-income jobs, for their economic struggles. Focusing on the foreign shop owners, locals are accusing them of undercutting local businesses with lower prices because they sell expired and fake goods and have a way better supply chain access. We also have to look at why South Africa has such a big, high influx of foreign nationals coming into the country post-apartheid. After the fall of apartheid, South Africa opened its borders to asylum seekers from neighboring countries and beyond, especially those coming from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Somalia. During the 1980s, 250,000 to 350,000 Mozambicans crossed the border into South Africa, fleeing from the civil war that was ravaging their country. This has led to widespread demonstrations, particularly in the capital Maputo and other major cities. Protesters have engaged in acts of arson, vandalism, targeting government buildings and symbols of state. Security forces have responded with force, resulting in numerous casualties. Reports indicate that at least 21 people have been killed in the recent unrest, including 2 police officers. On December 25, a riot erupted at the high-security prison in Maputo, leading to the escape of approximately 6,000 inmates. The chaos resulted in 33 prison deaths and 15 injuries. Among the escapees were individuals convicted of serious offenses, including terrorism. Authorities are actively working to recapture the fugitives and have urged them to surrender. The ongoing violence has prompted over 2,000 Mozambican families to seek refuge in neighboring Malawi and South Africa. The influx of refugees is straining resources, leading to an urgent humanitarian need. International organizations are calling for immediate assistance to support those who are affected. Then, South Africa started experiencing high numbers of Somalian nationals after the civil war broke out in Somalia in 1991. And also considering Zimbabwe was going through a lot of political instability and economic decline, Zimbabwe then accelerated migration into South Africa. This only led to local communities seeing more migrants as competitors for limited housing, healthcare, and education, job opportunities as well, creating resentment. Side note, South Africa received over 778,000 asylum applications between 2008 and 2012 alone. And now, more than 60% of spaza shops in townships today are run by foreign nationals. We also need to add that during colonial and apartheid eras, South Africa relied on migrant labor from neighboring countries, mostly in mining and farming sectors. While these systems exploited foreign workers, they also created a long-standing tension because locals would blame their low wages on the migrants. We can also look at the political party that won the first democratic election, the ANC. They failed to deliver widespread economic transformation due to a lot of factors, one of them being corruption and misuse of state funds, leaving many communities in disillusion. Some can say that the locals redirected their frustrations towards foreign nationals, blaming them for the slow progress rather than structural or political failures of the government. Now, let's talk about the role of spaza shops in local economies. Spaza shop is a generic isiZulu colloquial term meaning hidden or camouflaged. Spaza shop, also known as tuck shops, originated in the apartheid era. When black people were restricted from owning formal businesses, they began setting up informal micro-convenience shops from their homes to serve their community's daily needs in the townships. These shops would sell basic food and necessities to township residents in secret. Up to 1989, spaza shops were considered illegal, but later legalized on conditions that owners obtain a trading license. According to the book The Journey of a Sowetan Township Entrepreneur since 1905, edited by Tamim, owns spaza shops in South African townships, villages, and urban areas. Since 1994, these shops started to delay popularity and develop with necessity within surrounding townships, mainly because people lived long distances from the more expensive formal shopping areas. Initially selling daily essentials, over time they expanded and some of these shops were selling small items and furniture to toiletries and electronics. The democratic government relaxed many restrictions enforced by the apartheid. Despite all of these initiatives, the small grocery shops, partially those owned by South Africans, are still encountered with a number of obstacles with respect to their establishment, operation, and growth. In 2023, research done by Accenture highlights that the informal sector where the spaza shops thrive represented a substantial portion of the national food expenditure, estimated at 30 to 40%. This sector signifies a staggering potential market value of 178 billion, offering significant opportunities for businesses. Economically, spaza shops can serve as an entry point for small-scale entrepreneurs to start and grow their businesses and contribute to the township economy, which is approximately worth more than 197 billion in 2023, according to the SME South Africa. These local spaza shops were an essential in ensuring that economic activity continues even during crises such as COVID-19, when larger businesses struggle to remain operational. These are crucial links in the food distribution chains, ensuring that even the most marginalized communities have access to essential items. So now we're going to discuss the conflict between locals and the immigrants. In most cases, foreign nationals dominate informal businesses like spaza shops because of the strong community support networks they receive from their suppliers and fellow business owners who are either in the same business as them or from the same nationality. This further allows them to monopolize the industry. They also have cooperative buying practices that allow them to offer competitive prices. This is also because they can operate as a chain of stores, which allows them to buy their supply at a much cheaper price because they all put their money together and buy in bulk, which explains why they manage to sell their products at competitive prices. They also work long hours, more than local shops, usually opening at 5 a.m. in the morning and closing at 11 p.m. at night. This further causes economic friction with locals feeling displaced and unable to compete. In recent years, many spaza shops have been taken over by the foreign nationals, creating a lot of tension between locals because of their various reasons, such as selling expired goods, being operated by illegal immigrants, and they're selling drugs and alcohol without proper licensing to the community using the shop as a front. These are all alleged. We also have to mention that the shops often operate without any formal registration, which makes it hard for these shops to be regulated and pass through inspection. In recent reports, the South African government has mandated that in order for the spaza to be operational, they need to register their business and file in their taxes, or they'll be shut down. This has forced foreign owners who cannot register their business because they're in the country illegally to bribe local owners to register the business under their names and hand over the paperwork to the foreign business owner so that they can be compliant to the regulations put in place for these types of businesses. Now, let's speak about the perception and the misconceptions that most people have about foreign nationals in South Africa. Many misconceptions around migrant spaza shop owners is that they engage in illegal activities, including tax evasion, selling counterfeit goods, and operating without proper licenses. While these claims persist, studies show that many migrant workers comply with legal requirements. This was found in a document published by the South African Migrant Program in 2018. Recent incidences, such as foodborne illnesses linked to spaza shops, have prompted governments to take action, including mandatory registration and health inspection. While these measures aim to ensure consumer safety, they also contribute to the misconception that all spaza shops operate unsafely or illegally, overlooking the compliance and positive contribution of such businesses. A common misconception is that all foreigners are illegal, ignoring the distinction between legal migrants, refugees, and undocumented individuals. Another misconception is that illegal immigrants commit crimes. And while some illegal foreigners might be involved in crimes, statistics often show that most crimes are committed by locals, but xenophobia fuels this conception. The way that the media portrays foreign nationals also contributes to the mistrust and hatred from the locals. It's a common stereotype that foreign nationals are criminals or drug dealers, which fuel even more fear and mistrust. The media coverage of incidences involving foreign nationals further fuels and reinforces these negative perceptions. Now, let's talk about the impact of foreign-owned spazas on communities. In many instances, spaza shops, particularly foreign nationals, are targeted for crimes and violence, which also contributes to the economy as a whole. They fall victim to armed robberies because it is known that they do not bank their money, and they keep it in the shop simply because they cannot bank their money or they're evading taxation. This is low-hanging fruit for criminals, and this is why most spaza shops are barricaded, fearing robbery from gangs and protection rackets. A recent report by The Citizen stated that spaza shops often sell pesticides, also known as two-step, in small packets that the owners make themselves from containers of pesticides. They also buy snacks in bulk and make smaller packets to sell them in their shops. However, they do not adhere to the safety standards and handle the pesticides and the snacks without the necessary training or precautions to prevent contamination. This then explains why in the most recent food poisoning cases, traces of banned insecticide were found in spaces as inspectors were honing in on what killed the 6 children in Soweto. Now we can speak about government policies and responses. In the wake of growing news reports of children tragically dying from food poisoning, allegedly due to the products that are bought in spaza shops owned by foreigners, Minister in Presidency has called on South Africans to be more vigilant. She has urged the public to demand proof of registration from these shops, where there is suspicion of illegal owners selling counterfeit goods. The City of Joburg's MMC for Safety also reiterated that all spaza shops found to be non-compliant will be closed down temporarily until they are thoroughly checked and are found to be compliant before being given the green light to operate again. Politicians and local leaders will even use xenophobic rhetoric to divert attention from government failure. This is a very common practice with community leaders. For example, they will blame foreign nationals for crimes and not even them deploying police officials or allocating sufficient funds for police officers to get more squad cars so that they can increase police presence. Or honestly makes no sense at all. All this just deepens the division in the communities. Minister Ntshavheni said that the Department of Small Business Development was working with municipalities to ensure that spaza shops complied with regulations. She acknowledged that while foreign nationals were allowed to operate businesses in South Africa, they must be registered and compliant. She also urged South Africans to prioritize their health and safety over the temptation of cheaper goods sold by illegal spaza shops. Most of these informal trading sectors operate beyond the scope of the South African revenue services. Income is often cash-based, and tax officials do not routinely inspect these unregistered business or request receipts, as the existence by documentation remains undocumented. So at this point of the video, you're probably asking yourself, so what is the solution? What is the way forward? So addressing the many challenges and opportunities facing the spaza shop sector, it requires a comprehensive approach that is combined with regulatory measures with strategies to ensure supply chains, especially for young entrepreneurs who are just starting to dive into this type of business. To ensure food safety and provide opportunities for these vital community businesses, the government also has to start looking at a stronger border management. In addressing illegal immigration, we need to strengthen the improvement of the border controls and effective systems for asylum and work permits. By addressing misconceptions and promoting understanding, South Africa can foster more inclusive and informed dialogue around immigration. When it comes to the spaza shop phenomenon, it is really deeply ingrained in our South African society, and it deserves both the commitment from the communities to report any suspected shops and for the government to actually do their job. If this sector is operated properly, it holds a lot of opportunities for the livelihoods of many who are unemployed and at the same time provided greatly needed services to the community. Thank you so much for watching another video with the Need to Know channel. Don't forget to press the like button, drop a comment below, and press the subscribe button. All the comments and the likes actually give me an idea of what content I should keep bringing out and motivates me to drop more content for you guys. Thank you so much for watching another video, and we're out.